Welcome to episode 17 of Discourse. Discourse. So, we were having some technical difficulties. We got the focus right, or as Kyle calls it, the fuck machine.
The fuck meister.
The fuck meister.
Because my eyesight is going fast, ladies and gentlemen.
And it says focus right on top, but the fuck master. And we finally got all wired in, got our seatbelts clipped in, did all the brake checks, did all the lights, and then Kyle decided that he had to go participate in a study where he could lose weight by farting.
Ooh, that's a real thing, y'all. So there was an ad that popped up on Facebook, or YouTube. It was a real ad. It was talking about the secret to weight loss is just fucking fart. It was like, take this pill, but it wouldn't say it was a pill. They just kept on holding up their hand. It was a blurred out question mark.
That's right. They did do that.
It was definitely a pill, though, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like... Or what if there was nothing? What if there was nothing in their hand? They were like, your digestive system does this on its own. You don't have to give us any money. Just keep doing what you're doing.
The miracle cure is inside of you all along.
Yeah.
Aw. But anyway, the funny thing is we were talking pre-launch of the sode was what do astronauts do when they get right up to, because there's got to be digestive upset due to anxiety and
and they're chilling for a bit before they launch.
They get up there and it's T-minus and suddenly they're like, up, gotta poop.
I feel like they almost certainly wear diapers for the launch at least. Because
the LD, launch
because
diaper.
They used to. I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to. Not since the Challenger thing, but they used to advertise that shit, and it was like a live feed.
They used to advertise the diapers.
No, the launch.
Oh yeah. They don't show that as much anymore because of the potential for trauma.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't see that coming. They got lucky a lot, and then not so lucky.
Not so lucky.
So, yeah, they definitely wear diapers, I would say. Astronaut diapers.
Astrodipes. They're out of this world.
Yeah. That's slow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't feel good. I went, it's like you're hungry and you see the rotting apple and you're like, there's going to be worms and mush, but like I haven't eaten in a while.
The hot dog.
You don't bring that up. I had really bad heat stroke because of that hot dog.
One time One time John didn't fulfill his prior wedding obligations because of a heat stroke.
So there we were at one of our mutual best friends' wedding at Red River Gorge.
That was a heavy pour.
Oh, very nice. Your pumpkin is full of ethanol.
Dopey.
And we were at Red River Gorge, one of our mutual best friends' wedding. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But there was a cookout the day before, and I was the master of ceremonies, which is an incredible honor and also shows incredible misjudgment on the part of all the bride and the groom and the wedding families. But there was a wonderful meaty barbecue the day before, and the next day we hadn't eaten anything all day, and it was like the hottest day of summer, and there was like a third of a hot dog sitting on top of the grill, and it had just been breathing and sweating all day, and I hadn't eaten anything, and I was like, oh my God, I would kill for a piece of little meat dog right now. And I go over there, and I think you were there.
It was I.
Because I was like, Kyle. And you were like, John, do you looking like you're going to eat that hot dog? And I was like, it's fine. You're like, no, you should not eat that hot dog. And I was like, well, and I took one bite of it and I was like, yeah, this hot dog's stank. And I put it down. It just seemed like it something had fundamentally changed about it. And then a few hours later, I thought I was having a heat stroke and my whole body was reacting. I felt nauseous. I felt like flush, and I drank a bunch of water. And then it turns out and I missed the entire celebration. I was able to pull it into, I will say, I was in the shower, naked, farting, like in fetal position, under a cold water spray.
I remember.
And you and several other of the groomsmen were there, and you guys were like, you can do this, man. You just have to go out there and say your piece and introduce things, and you can go back to farting in the tub. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And several people stepped up, and that was really awesome. But I did fulfill my duties, and then when I got back, I went to I went to a doctor's, a dermatologist, because I broke out in full body hives all over, and I had to get all these different shots and all these different creams. And it turns out my body was just had what is that called? Urticaria.
Yeah,
what hives are called.
It is.
Is that what it's called? Yeah,
definitely.
And I know this because I'm a licensed dermatologist in the state of Kentucky. And anyway, it went away. But I was. So anyway, the joke is that I had a heat stroke, but the truth is that I ate a tainted dog.
Taint. All right. So here's the thing you got to realize, John. If I tell you don't do something, you need to not do it, because I will almost always hype up something you shouldn't do just to watch the consequences. So if there's ever a time where I'm like, no, that's a bad idea, that means it's really a bad idea.
Do not let me see the man behind the curtain, Kyle, because now I know how to. Well, actually, no, because you're pretty good at playing games. You're good at gaslighting.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
But you're right.
You've done it to multiple. Oh my God. My bird has broken the barricade.
She keeps doing it. The birdicade.
The birdicade.
The birdicade.
She's climbing up to the crit. We'll just pretend if she gets noisy or gets irritating, I'll put her back.
We'll just spray her with that bottle.
Well, no, because she's on top and she could slip and fall off.
Did you notice anything about that bottle?
Is there urine in it now?
Do you not see the big sticker on the bottle?
Yeah, the arrow on the side, that's the brand of the bottle. Oh, you're talking about the one that you put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought it was my roommate.
No, it was I. Those are going to be popping up a lot now because they've given me access to the sticker room.
The stickatorium.
Dude, I've been putting them everywhere. I hate that bird.
Dude, I love her to death, but this is oh, and Amity got out too. What the fuck?
No, you're not the best prison warden.
Jesus, no, absolutely not. This is terrible content here. You just talk. I'm gonna go realign this situation.
All right,
tell a funny story.
A funny story. Okay.
Get back in there.
Okay, let's see. Funny stories. What do we have? This past weekend was cool. We had a Halloween party, which we almost certainly shouldn't have had because the whole pandemic. But the governor said we didn't really have to limit public outings until Monday, so I think it took the weekend off. Yeah, if Daddy Bashir didn't want us to do it, he would have said don't do it over the weekend, but he said Monday. We had one last hurrah, and then COVID was back in town. So hopefully no one got it, but I'm almost positive we all have it now.
I'm back, hopefully without COVID, but it's very possible that we are now, we hosted, like in California, they have those super spreader parties where like the government is fining the homeowners thousands of dollars.
What's considered super spreader?
That's like if I don't know, like the people they invite to the parties are like 500 people.
Oh, okay. So a 20-person party wouldn't be a super spreader event.
I would say I'd say it's more like a kind of spreader.
A subpar spreader.
Suburb spreader.
Yeah, suburb sweater.
Suburb
sweater weather. Okay, well, hopefully not, because I would rather not implicate ourselves. But if we do, it was at John's house.
Also, if that's the case, I want to know the documentation of that party is that I was wearing a one-piece swimsuit.
Ooh.
And
it
was very. It took me 30 minutes to get into, and I stretched. I blew my love handle blew out the side of it.
I didn't know that Speedos had threads until I saw them popping.
That's very generous.
They were definitely
popping.
frayed.
They were screaming and tearing and being torn asunder.
Oh man. And then he took his biggest dildo out of his collection and shoved it.
Are we finally talking about the kitchen cocks?
Have we not talked about your dicks?
No.
Oh. John's got dicks.
I've got several. I've got a small collection.
In quantity.
Correct. Not in any other dimension.
Yeah.
So the story is that I have a friend in Colorado, and they have one of the so the cost of living is very expensive in Colorado, and this is even 2 hours west of Colorado, in the Dillon area, and in a oh no, I can't remember the word I always use. Whenever you're in the crater of a volcano, you're in like the caldera. They're kind of like in a caldera area in the Summit County area. It means you're surrounded by mountains around you. Okay. So anyway, someone ordered a personal pleasure device, which was a long, clear cock. And it came, and it turns out it wasn't what they wanted. So
wait, why wasn't it what they wanted?
I don't know what the story is. I don't know if they just they weren't into it, if it just turned out that it was too thick, if it was like, I think is they thought they wanted to order a vibrator, but instead they got a giant dick replica.
And all right, go and finish your story before I start asking questions.
Okay. And so the roommates, because it's funny, they started moving it around the kitchen. It had a suction cup base because that's just we're really living in a modern time where you can.
You throw that shit in your shower.
Yeah, you literally any surface that it'll stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly an amazing modern
Toilet
time.
seat.
That's where I'm thinking. That's where I would want to orgasm if I was a lady on the toilet. And so they moved it all around. It became a funny thing. So then I went down there with a friend after it had been down there for a while, and I, after ingesting several delicious foodstuffs containing illegal substance out in that area, I found it incomprehensibly funny to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took a bunch of slow motion videos, and I'm planning on releasing hopefully sometime the slow motion of the video of that weekend because it's so funny to me. And anyway, so I fell in love with it, too much to the irritation and chagrin of the roommates there who were just trying to chill, and we were laughing maniacally, slinging a dick around.
Slinging around.
Limp-wristed, slapping each other, throwing it outside, throwing it up in the air, sticking it to things, archering it into holes across the room. So when I got back, I was like, I've got to get one. I need a kitchen cock. This is so much fun. And there's so much appeal. Like, it's funny, it's off-putting, it's uncomfortable, but it's also hilarious, and it really gets people out of their comfort zone. And so I ordered one, but it was coming from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I ordered a 9-inch clear ladies' choice French tickler. No, that's different. No, it's just a regular. Sorry, I didn't mean to misrepresent. It's just a regular.
Is a French tickler a really long one?
I think a French tickler has like a little mustache above it or something. Leaves you with more questions than you came in with.
It sure do.
But and so I got one, but I ordered it, but it didn't come, and then there was a delay. So I ordered a 7-inch one, same make and model, same build, but just smaller. And then that one came, and when it came, I forgot that I ordered the other one, which eventually shipped way earlier than it said. So now I've got my own cock collection, and I've got Little Richard, which is the big one, and I've got Little Dick, which is the smaller one, and they are just a delight.
Yeah. And he put one of those in a Speedo for Halloween. So it looked like he had a big old doink.
So it looked like I was... I didn't want to wear... I padded it out with like... I have a very modest male bust. I'm going to call the genital the male bust. I have a very... Thank you. A very modest male bust. And so I packed it with socks. And I was like, I can't even... It didn't even occur to me that I could have used them for that lascivious purpose. Turns out it looks really good.
Yeah. I was fucking turned on for sure.
It looked like there was just a giant. Yeah. That was fun.
No, I think you had the best costume for sure. That was hilarious.
Oh, thank you. There were a lot of really good costumes.
I thought Bauer was a castle crasher.
He was just this man who wore. I wish you could. It's a whoopee cushion. Oh my god, I love that. You thought he was a castle crasher. No, it's funny because for the first, before he changed out and he put on one of my banana suits, because I do have two, because I'm a cultured man. He every time you would go to hug him or high five him, he'd be like, "What's up?" And he would make like a fart sound, and I was like, "Oh, you are committing." And he's like, "Yes, I am." Then he's like, give me a hug.
Aw.
That man is pure light.
Yeah, he is.
Pure
Okay,
light.
so my previous question about the Denver cock.
Yeah.
You're telling me you honestly believe they didn't take it for a test run before they decided they weren't into it? You think it showed up and they're like, no, I'm not going to stick this inside of me. Let's put it in the kitchen.
I think it depends on the metal of the character of the person who tried it.
If it's who I think it is.
So here's mine. So like I am a modern gentleman. I've probably sunk hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into the world of extra sexual pleasure.
Pocket pussies.
Yeah. And I like I feel like for men, like if it's something that we can insert ourselves into and explore with the sensations that we're seeking, it could be like it could look like a Happy Meal. We would just fuck the shit out of it because it was designed for that purpose. But for women, I feel like, it's a little bit more like there's all these different dimensions to take into shape. There's this expectation. There's what kind of pleasure, what kind of sensations what kind of stimulation do I want to have and where? I just feel like if, you thought it was one thing and it comes out another, they probably don't have, some people, I would say not everyone, but like, I can see them being more discreet about it. Like,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They can kind of like analyze it and be like, oh, that's not going to feel how I thought.
yeah, like if I want a vibrator that stimulates my clitoris and the labia minoris and major, but not internal, like that those are going to be very different sensations provided by different stimuli. And so,
and you think it's worth just throwing it away if it's not going to do exactly what you think?
Well, again, like men, I feel like we
Yeah.
would order. It could be like a watermelon, that was for that purpose, and we wouldn't throw it away. We would try it, but I feel like it was only the cost that was only like $15.
I know. I'm again thinking from a male with a man's brain. It just seems like a waste. But I know you got more than $15 of fun out of it, and you ordered 2 more.
Yeah, just one more.
No, Little Dick and Little Richard.
I've got 2.
I said you ordered 2 more. You ordered 2 after the initial one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't order the initial one.
All right.
I don't understand.
Nothing.
Excuse me.
That's that COVID cough.
Oh no. Oh no, the
Told you.
COVID.
Dude, I've been sneezing so much, which is totally unrelated to COVID, but it still makes me wonder.
I do think that in light of, like I've got a family member that is in a medically induced coma because of COVID complications, and he's 7. I thought he was in his 60s, but he's actually 70. And he went and visited one of his family members in Florida.
Yeah.
You know how I'm looking at you right now. Like,
Why are you looking at me like
because
that? Like I've gone to Florida.
No, I'm just saying like anyone going. I'm just saying like Florida. Like
Florida
I'm giving
sucks
you.
dick.
Yes.
It's like that place next to it.
Louisiana.
Alabama.
I'll buy a book.
Close enough.
Oh, Louisiana's next to Texas.
Throw both of them away.
Yeah. Throw them away. Let them secede from the nation.
It's just if there is enough dynamite in the world to just blast them into the ocean. Like, just blast the barrier, the border, and just let them float away.
They'd probably be happy.
Yeah, no, they would fucking float down to Cuba and corrupt it.
Be like, yo, you guys like hair gel, bro?
Yeah, just turn to a vacation spot.
You guys like conservative politics and 1920s ideology and carelessness and anti-scientific and anti-intellectual sentiments? Then
And no
let's
drugs.
let's party. Oh, what do you mean? There's Miami.
I'm thinking Alabama more.
Oh,
so.
okay. I was like, dude, Miami's like the coke capital.
Yeah, I guess those two don't really go well together.
Coke in Florida?
Coke in Alabama. We're just not on the same wavelength right now. We
I
take
know,
1 week off.
No. Well, we just haven't had our intimate time, Kyle. We went back into this without so much as an intellectual foreplay.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, I guess this is the verbal conversational equivalent of going in dry.
I feel okay.
I'm glad. Well, it's not like my intellect is going to knock the sides out or knock the bottom down.
That's a good point. I know it's there though.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, buddy. That means so much to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I do feel like this was not necessarily the most responsible thing to do. But, I will also say that I feel, I really desperately want to say that we took all the precautions that we did. But there was a conversation prior to the party proper where we talked about like, well, should we mandate masks? Should we not have any people? We did set up 3 different rooms and stations so we could socially distance. I mean, we did make it by all means. We did make an attempt.
A lot of the time was spent outside.
Yes. Yeah.
But to say that we could socially distance in this house.
Yeah.
Not a knock on the house. I love this house. I would live here in a heartbeat. But
Kyle, that does not mean a lot to me what you've told me your living conditions are.
I'm just saying, like, what else am I supposed to say? If I can't say that I appreciate it, what else am I supposed to say? Oh, fucking Curtis would appreciate it? That's not realistic.
No.
Okay, so all I have to give is myself, and it's not enough.
It is enough.
Oh, that doesn't mean very much.
Kyle, it's always enough.
Fuck you.
Hey.
I love this house, and I'd live in it now.
Aw.
But
I wish you were.
Yeah. It's better than the alternative. Anyway, if you squeeze 20 people into this house, it's not going to be distant.
I really don't know that we ever calculated a head tally. Like, we got a good head count. Like, because I think it was not 20 people. I think it was like 15.
Okay.
Did you count?
No, I'm just saying even 15. You know what's ironic? The one time, literally the one time of year where it is not only socially acceptable but goes with the theme to wear a mask. No one wore a fucking mask in here.
That is excellent social commentary. Oh my God. Yeah, well, I have one that I was going to wear. It's actually a military mask that I got from my buddy in the military. And it's I actually washed it. That's how durable it is, and I'm still using it. It's really good. But then I decided not to because first there was a lot of people that we had been seeing that we knew were okay. They've been cleared, and there were just a few wild cards that we didn't know about. But I feel like ultimately, like we shouldn't have done it. It was a bad idea, but it was really nice to see everybody, and I wouldn't say I regret it, but I do feel a strong sense of more. If anything happens and there's like someone texts us and is like, "Hey guys, turns out I was in Florida for 4 months and I was partying and I had it and I didn't tell you guys," then like,
I don't think it's possible that someone's gonna be like, "Oh, by the way, I had it the whole time but didn't tell anyone." But
no,
it's a possibility that someone had it and didn't know.
Because of the incubation period.
Yeah, just stay away from old people for a while.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go visit my parents yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I haven't gone and visited my mom in a year.
Yeah. Wow, that's so responsible of
kidding,
you.
Just kidding.
That's good social accountability. She's like, "Baby, are you alive?" You're like, "I'm not coming to see you. I'm
for your own good.
I'm protecting you.
You can't die." No, I saw her like a week ago. Through a glass. I was like, I bring a glass barrier whenever I come around here.
You see me looking through the glass? Can't even stand your ass. All I know is that it feels like I got the COVID, but now I'm not gonna go inside your home. I'm gonna leave you all alone inside your home. I should have never come here.
Yeah, I hope we don't have it, but if we do, we'll be okay, probably.
Yeah, I think so. As long as we don't, you are in a field now.
I'm in the field.
I'm in the field. So let's talk about that because Kyle has rejoined. We are no longer burdens on the tax-paying backbone of the economy. We have now joined the workforce.
Yeah.
Again, rejoined the workforce, I should say.
Yeah.
I have not rejoined it in 8 months. Kyle, I have tried numerous times. Kyle, however, did and then wasn't, and then has now found his new calling.
I don't know if you'd call it a calling yet. I'm still in training.
So it's more like it's not a calling, it's a whisper.
I haven't done the job at all yet. I've just been in a classroom for the last 2 weeks. But
I would love to talk about those classroom mechanics and the cohort that you are getting your education with.
Oh boy, what if one of them's a listener? They fit into the niche that we've created so well.
No.
No, they haven't. The people in this classroom are basically the opposite of me in every way.
You're doing a social anthropology experiment
They all
in the field.
In the field. No, this is out of the field.
Okay.
This is in the room.
Surprised there's not like a highfalutin word for in the room. Like in our field, we call in situ or vis-a-vis or in I think it's in vitro.
They don't use foreign words.
Oh, not in vitro. It's in situ. In situ. We don't use Latin.
Yeah, they're all basically truck driving, God fearing rednecks, which is fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. I want to buy a truck.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I'm going to buy a truck because now I have a company truck,
and
it's pretty shitty.
Let me ask you what I think everyone out there is really wondering.
What?
Have you noticed a sizable improvement in the length of your members since owning a truck?
Oh yeah.
You know, I somehow knew you were going to say that. But
dude, I've had to get longer shorts.
Does it really? You drive through and revving the engine. Does it just like add an extra centimeter?
Yeah, I went to the urinal the other day and it dunked in.
Be right back. I'm going to go buy a truck. Is that really the solution?
No, it doesn't do anything for your cock. But it does give you the right to act like you. It doesn't really give you the right. For some reason, it makes people act like they have a bigger dingus.
I love that word. It's the dingus in your heart that really matters.
It is. It's
the hingus.
I think the bigger the truck, the smaller the heart dingus, but more of the head dingus.
I could see that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolingus.
Okay. So, got a company truck. It's pretty cash money. What?
Wow. 20 chains over here.
That's my favorite part of the job so far, since it's really the only part I've done.
Is gotten your truck.
Drive a truck.
How's your job going so far? Pretty A to B.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm going to be locating utility lines, which I didn't know was a thing before I started this job. But there's a bunch of buried utility lines under all of us all the time. And if you want to dig, you need to not dig into those.
Are those the duty flow lines?
Those are one of the lines, yes.
Okay.
There's gas, not the duty flow gas.
Okay.
The natural gas. The shit that leaks from your stove.
That leaks. Don't talk about my stove. Like that thing has seen several world wars.
I know. Anyway, there's gas, electric, sewage, and potable water.
Potable
water, which one person in my class only refers to as portable water.
Oh, he wants to know. He wants to say the word so bad. He adds an R.
No, he doesn't know what potable means. He thinks it's portable water. He thinks it's just a conveyor belt down there.
He's
moving
like,
Minecraft blocks
I got
of
a
water.
question. Isn't all water portable? IQ 4000. Oh,
He's gonna do great.
Yeah.
So far he's holding the class up a lot, but he's gonna do great.
Oh, you've talked to me about this gentleman. Is this the one that we think might have some type of pervasive developmental disability?
Yes.
Oh, I feel bad speaking ill of him. He's doing he's out there.
Yeah. I wasn't speaking ill of him. I was just saying he's doing great. He's gonna be a star.
No.
His own little star.
Hopefully not due to an explosion sending him into the stratosphere.
Well, luckily for us, if we mess up, we probably won't be there to suffer the consequences.
Because you'll be disintegrated?
No, we'll be at another job site. We mark and then they dig later.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll just go to prison, but we won't explode.
Oh, God. You just cannot get away from prisons.
Dude,
from
I
like
can't.
the threat of prison.
No, it seems I can't. Or the dangerous jobs that I keep taking on, which my negligence could lead to death. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Maybe you've got it. Maybe you're an adrenaline junkie.
There's not much adrenaline about locating underground utility lines.
Well, don't say it like that. You rob yourself of the prestige and the action.
I don't think I want an adrenaline rush while I'm locating because I feel like that means I've done something wrong. But no, I wanted to climb like a cell phone tower or like a tree or something. I want my life to be put at risk by my own.
I know, and I keep telling you to just join the circus, become a trapeze artist.
I don't want to go back to school.
I'm going to tell you something that I don't think you've considered, and that I don't think clown or clown school or trapeze school is going to be much like traditional academics. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to be working a lot with your hand and your body.
Day one, you sit down on a whoopee cushion. They're like, open your desk, and you open it up, and you get squirted with a water gun.
I hope that we're not offending any potential clown school. Like, the only person that comes to mind is Steve-O, but like anyone out there who's like, this is an incredibly prestigious, ambitious discipline.
They paint on a tear on their face.
How dare you besmirch our noble lineage? Oh, you know what, Jesters? I mean, the Trickster. There's a great book is called Trickster Makes the World, and it's about the myth of the trickster god and all the different cultures, and they're important. They're part of the cultural mythos, and I know several people that like the amazing guy that was at my brother's wedding.
Yeah,
he is an incredible person.
Wait, how is he a trickster?
He just does well. No, not in like the cultural sense. I guess he actually did go to a like juggling. I don't know if it was a clown school.
Oh, I thought you were
else.
talking about the ayahuasca guy.
No.
Okay, I was about to say he seems like the opposite of a trickster. He seems like one of the most down to earth, spirited people I've ever met.
Yeah, it's interesting how doing precarious amounts of psychedelics will ground you.
Yeah, sure do.
So you're rejoining the workforce, and you're going to be locating lines.
Underground utility lines.
Oh, okay. You don't go out there with a dowsing rod.
No.
Say if you.
That's an antiquated system, John.
Do they teach you that? Like, if we see you boys out there holding a stick over the line, you will be written up.
No, they actually showed us the science behind it and why it works, and like. A lot of people still think it's bullshit, but it actually works. But
really?
Yeah, no, it 100% works. But it's not.
Is it more art than application?
Yes.
It takes a lot of work to learn.
That, and like if there's like any sort of frequency in the air, like if you're anywhere close to like high powered like electric lines, it'll throw it off. So it's not that reliable.
Interesting.
The same thing can happen with the locators we use, but they're much more accurate, and that's much less likely to use it. It's pretty.
I did not know that.
It's pretty intense the way it works. You hook up like a transmitter box onto a tracer wire, because every utility line has a tracer wire buried with it, which I didn't know. You hook up a transmitter to that, set it on a certain frequency, ground it into the ground, and then you use your locator over that. And it's going to be on that frequency. But if you turn it up too high, or if it's too close to another tracer wire, it can bleed over into another line, and you can be locating the wrong line the whole time. And make someone blow up.
It sounds like you're playing tic-tac-toe with technology.
I prefer Minesweeper.
Ooh. Now that takes me back.
That there is a joke.
Now that's your Windows 95 reference.
With the little flags, too.
Yes,
it's perfect.
I know. Oh. I love the implication, because if you fuck up, you, again,
won't be there.
Nope.
But will be in court.
Exactly, and will be probably in jail or prison.
Here's the thing. There's a big difference in negligence and gross negligence, okay? And I learned this in ziplining.
Please take the stage and explain on the left hand, negligence on the right hand.
Negligence means that you messed up and you were unaware of what you were doing. So, like, as a new trainee...
the unknown unknown.
Yes, as a new trainee, if I went in there and located the wrong thing and someone dug it up and exploded, that would be negligence, and I would get fired and maybe in trouble with the law. Gross negligence would be showing up to work super high and doing shit wrong and someone blowing up, because you went into the job knowing that you were impaired and you knew what to do, but you didn't care.
Interesting. See, in a professional field, right, you have a credential, there's actually an entire ethics set of guides that says that ignorance and not knowing is not an excuse.
It's not okay. No. And so no, it's not an excuse. Just like
no, I know
not-
what you mean. I'm just being a
Yeah,
pretentious
okay.
dick.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
word.
saying that, like, in our field, like when it says ignorance of these laws or ignorance of these ethics or ignorance of this is not a viable excuse. Like if you in the line of work, slapped a kid or you I don't know. It gave parents alcohol as a bribe, or something. Or they gave you alcohol, and then you went in front of the board due to for an ethics committee and they're partaking a disciplinary action. You can't say like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, like the different expectations of different fields.
I think the lines are less blurred when it gets to putting someone in prison for murder. I think that's where.
Yeah, it's
we're
like
getting at.
I didn't mean to blow up the city block. Well, did you mean to show up naked? That's between me and myself and I.
Yep. So I will not be going to work high or smoking weed anymore. I don't think, just because I don't want it in my system if something does happen.
Yeah, it's definitely worth. I mean, you're doing work that has the potential to have very explosive outcomes.
Oh.
You see, that's a 10 penny wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that might be a good idea just to cover the bases. But that's really interesting. I think I don't know. I think that you like laboring alone and doing your own thing, following your own.
Oh, John.
Oh,
They called me up and they were like, okay, so just so you know, to give you a little rundown of the job, you're going to be locating these lines and you're probably going to be alone and unsupervised for 99% of your day. Are you going to be okay with that? And I almost dropped the phone.
I was saying you had to stifle like a climax. You're like, yeah. That is.
It's acceptable.
I think I can make do. Can you whisper that again to me?
Yeah, so that sounds fantastic.
Nothing like unsupervised laborers out in the field.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna.
Sorry, and so the meta joke there is that Kyle has informed me that when they refer to going out and locating, you are going in the field.
They call it the field, which I understand why. There's really not a better word to call it, but it makes me think that they're taking themselves seriously like the military. Is anytime they're like, when you're out in the field locating, I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, here's the other side. If you take a job that has similar professional expectations and training class, like I was gonna say a plumber, but I know that's like an internship and everything. Like, what's another job like Wendy's? Like all right, guys, I want you to go out in the field and sweep the cups into the trash, and you're like, I'm going out in the field.
That's the
And I'm not saying that you're doing like Wendy's level work, but it's interesting because it's the way to aggrandize and to inspire buy-in by adding this high, this very this professional language, but you're just going outside.
Yep, going outside.
Just going outside.
I should honestly call that the office because that's where we are most of the time.
That's right. That's true.
I got a desk in my truck. Yeah, man.
So is that your mobile office?
Yeah, I've been calling it. Although I did see a really scary spider in there today, and it kind of, as manly as I was feeling about driving a truck, I almost ran off the road when I saw this spider on my dashboard.
You know that spiders genuinely just coexist and actually are an incredible part of our ecosystem.
This one was fuzzy, though.
Your argument holds up even less now.
It flew.
He sounds it. You should have quit.
Mm-hmm.
You should have taken your cushion and left.
No, it flew, dude. It was on my windshield, like on the far side, like on the passenger side. And I was
First of all, spiders don't fly. He probably swung from like he probably Indiana Jones'd over.
He fell down and hovered and went back up and hit his head and then fell back down.
Yeah, he was on a string.
No, dude. No. I've seen a spider fall. I've seen Spider-Man. There's a big difference in swinging and flying and gliding. Which he was doing.
Buzz Lightyear would agree with you. It's falling with style.
Anyway, the spider flew back up and hit his head and then fell again. And then he was crawling all over my steering wheel and shit while I'm trying to drive. And eventually I parked somewhere and he went back away. And then he came back and was like on my steering wheel. And I took this Kroger bag and just smacked him as hard as I could, right? Don't know why, because I'm sure a tiny bit of force would have done it.
Overkill.
I almost broke my new truck. My little Nissan.
They're like, Kyle, what happened in your truck? It seemed like you split the dashboard, and you're like, slapping a little baby spider.
There's a spider in there. Super fuzzy and he had wings.
Super. And then like you see all of their eyes open, and they're like, well, dadgummit, we have the same issue. Did you crush your company appointed fuzzy spider? Has to eat the bugs. We put that in there for your protection.
So after I smashed this as hard as I could with the Kroger bag, after I regained my composure and took a couple breaths, I lifted up the Kroger bag slowly, as you do, and there was nothing under there. And I didn't see him again. So I'm pretty sure he's plotting to kill me.
I think this is an excellent time to segue into metaphysics. You ended life unnecessarily, and so you now have that tiny fuzzy life on your hands.
No, I didn't have him on my hands. He got away.
Sounds like you disintegrated him with the forcer you put.
No, there would have at least been a small. No, it wasn't like a baby. You're thinking of like a little baby. I'm talking like this size,
and
like
he was fuzzy,
quarter size, fuzzy, John. I could see his
He
eyes.
was probably eating the bugs in your cab to keep you safe.
I will
Spiders
take the
are
bugs.
bros. There's only one scenario where I do not like a spider to come at me or to be present or to breathe or do anything spiders do. And that is in between the thin gossamer veil of my shower curtain and the thicker outer veil of the shower curtain, because they will climb in there and I'm like showering at my most vulnerable, and I'll look over and he'll be there just I was gonna say Jeffrey Dahmering, but
so
like
the Voyager Spider.
The Voyager Spider, yeah, peeping at me in the
all the eyes.
It's because they skitter about so, and I think it's because the water maybe, I don't know if they're into it or not, but like they do kill the bugs, but like I don't know, I'm just afraid they're gonna disappear, and I'm gonna look up and it's gonna chest burst out of the wall into my face.
So why is your fear justified but mine's not?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with my giblets being out. They just seem so. I mean, the penis and testicles can be removed with like less than 5 pounds of pressure.
Well, my giblets were out.
In your work truck, in your pick 'em up truck.
Yeah, man, I was working. What do you mean?
I don't know if you know the amount. I don't know if you know the variety of work you've gotten yourself in. They're like, all right, Kyle, what in God's name? You're like, I'm working, boy.
Just locating utility line. I think one's this way.
Are you using your pecker as a dowsing rod?
So I think he's in my truck still, dude. And I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I'm going to keep driving.
I would celebrate. I would take a deep breath. I would celebrate the biodiversity of life, and I would appreciate that you have a tiny little soldier in there keeping you safe of bugs.
No. I don't like snakes, and I don't like spiders.
Snakes are super cool.
Yeah, I know. That's what you'll say.
I got bit by one. So at my parents' house is a 90-acre farm. I go down to the creek, and especially during the creek, if you will, and I flip over the rocks, and it's breeding season. There's all these little water snakes. They're called common water snakes, which is really funny.
Shitty
I
name.
know. In Indiana, they're like, well, heck, they kind of look regular like, and they're common water
That's
snake.
a 5 out of 10 snake right there.
Exactly. You can't upsell it. Can't downsell it. So I like to go and I just catch them, and you grab them by their middle, you slide up to behind their head so they can't bite you, just hold them. And I know it sounds traumatic, but it's also an educational experience for anyone else who's there. And I let them go. But I will tell you, I got bit twice last summer because they're really fast, and I didn't expect them, because usually they just skitter off and they go into the water because commonly known to be in water.
Yeah, that's where they live.
That's right. And they're basic homes. And shopping at Kmart, and they like. But I got bit twice on the thumb, and I still picked them up. But they're just so cool. They're just such an interesting expression of life.
All right. That can be said about anything. But they slither, John.
I don't know. What about the botfly? What about ticks?
I don't like them either.
No, me neither.
I don't like
There's
bugs.
an entire niche in the animal kingdom. I don't know which of the taxa it falls under, but they're called parasites. And parasites don't occupy any useful, other than that they're food for other bigger animals in intermediate size, like ticks and mosquitoes. Although there's a really interesting book that I finished by by David George Haskell.
So close.
By Ulysses, by David George Haskell, called The Forest Unseen, and it's a National Pulitzer Prize winning book. And he went to the University of the South, which is in Tennessee. He went a few miles north into the woods.
Did you say the University of the South?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called that. It's in Tennessee.
Okay.
Are you surprised?
No.
Okay. So, which is interesting because Tennessee is like relatively
It's not
north
that
compared
south.
to no. So he went there. He went out to in I think it was a national forest there and set up what he called the mandala, and he did like a 10 by 10 area. He went up there several times a month and wrote a book about it. And it's like a blend of poetry and science, and it's beautiful. And but anyway, he talks about like ticks. He talks about mosquitoes and how like it's really funny because what ticks do is a lot of them will wait on the edge of plants with their arms up in like what a semaphore, which a semaphore is like when you're waving flags, like they hold their arms up. And what they detect is any heat. And when they do that, they like lunge at that heat source. And ticks, they suck off everything, and it's really gross. They like vomit up a bunch of stuff. But mosquitoes are really cool too. And mosquitoes actually, we are not their biggest thing. Actually, birds and deer and other things, other animals are actually their primary target. Mosquitoes.
Okay.
It's really neat.
I don't like them either.
Yeah, me neither.
I just don't like bugs. There's not a bug that I like. Not a bug guy.
What about ladybugs? What about
No.
roly-polies?
No. I'm actually okay with ants just because I admire their strength.
Okay.
They can carry like 20 times their weight. You know how impressive that is?
That is really impressive.
You know, if you or I could do that, we'd be like famous.
You know, I have this this other book.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You do not have
Yes,
another book.
I do. Yeah, I do. And there's a lot of game theorists, which is like it applies statistic. It's like a statistical math analysis to behavior. And the different games we play, like I can't remember any off the top of my head, but
Chess,
no.
checkers.
But anyway, game theory. They look at a lot of ants to discover how their colonies thrive with like the amount of They do. They look at what?
No, it's just because they're just so dumb that like. Not dumb, but like they're like tiny little AIs. Like
yeah,
just
they do,
like
and they
machine
follow
learning their way through
pheromone.
shit.
Yeah, they do. They follow pheromone signals and
Yeah.
other things, and they're literally the definition of like an input output.
Yeah,
organism.
like what's the word I'm thinking of? Like they're very systematic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they are, and so they look at that, but they use that to determine like because they're so. And I think that's what makes it so easy is they can look at them and be like, well, it's not because of they're thinking about the social status, so they're upset that they got slided in the car on the way to traffic. They're just like, no, I saw a rock, and they're going around the rock, and then the other ones are helping them climb over the rock by creating this net. And it's really fascinating. But anyway, it's just cool that like there's just so like the way that birds fly in V's in the sky, and they don't really communicate. It's like this natural. It seems like almost as if by magic that it happens that they fly in these V's and migrate.
it's a hive mind thing, right? Is that real? Is an ant colony a hive mind?
I don't think so. I think that some people have classified it that way because they go off of chemical signals rather than having individual autonomy. And if one gets separated, they seem to like freak out and not know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But so they have no like agency or automaticity. But I don't know.
Hive mind means that it's literally like one brain controlling all of them, right? Okay.
So
then
I don't think
they're
that's
not
the
that.
case. Yeah.
But they behave. They're probably the closest thing we have.
They beehive like a hive mind. See what it does. Shut up. Thank you for that forced laughter. Wow. I don't know enough about that, but I have a really good book about it, but I haven't read it because it has a lot of math in it. And I, as you know, do not care for the interplay of integers and numbers.
I like math. Not your math. Not the math you're doing.
Not GRE math.
I like if Sally buys 7 watermelons for 25 cents.
Dude, who's her watermelon guy?
She's
That's
got
an awesome. She got the hookup,
plug, dude. They're mini melons though. They're not what you would think.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
25-cent worth of watermelons.
Okay, so my next question is, how are they growing these micromelons?
She's got a
And
guy.
what's the economy for micromelons? What's the demand for
I'm
macromelons?
basically just Sally, honestly, man.
Yo, stop asking questions. You trying to get cut?
Yeah, dude. I'm not supposed to be talking about
You
this.
trying to get hurt?
They just call me up every now and then and ask about like their output.
We're the Cromwell and mob, bro.
Sally's just really bad at math, and she needs my help.
So, speaking of math,
Yeah.
So before Kyle came over, I was finishing my second practice test for the graduate record exam that I will then use to apply for graduate school. And I took it 7 years ago, but the records only last for 5 years. So I took my first practice test with the book in September. It was that's August. It was, so it was August 23rd. I studied for, 8, 9, 10, 11. I studied for 2.5 months. And I decreased my verbal score by 1 point and increased my math by 2 points.
Well, it makes sense. You haven't been talking to the book.
I haven't been locked in a shed for 2.5 months. But I just it's just so frustrating because I looked up later research that shows that most people are not able after their initial score, after learning the material, are not able to increase it. And so that feels kind of defeatist and fatalistic. That
do you have a failing score, or are you just trying to get it better?
No, I have what would be considered a mildly competitive score, but
what do you mean? Just take that and run.
Well, but what I'm looking at, okay. So when you go to the funny, there's two sides to this coin. The ass side of this coin is, what do you call the doctor who finishes last in his class? You call him doctor. But the top side of that is, what do you call the other doctors that finish first? Doctor. They only, for PhD programs, I'm going into psychology, I'm not going to the medical field, and so I need to have a higher qualitative than quantitative. I need to be better at verbal reasoning than I do at math. But I want to make sure that if they get thousands of applications, that they can look at mine in my portfolio and say well, this is it looks like we're okay with his scores. We're okay with his reasoning ability.
I get that. It sounds like what you need to be more worried about is how you do once you get in, though. If you don't want to finish last in your class, it doesn't seem like the GRE.
So I actually reached out to every school that I was applying to, which is 6, across the states, and I asked them if they would accept because the GRE is only used to predict the first year of graduate school performance. I feel like we've talked about this before, but it bears fucking repeating because of how salty I am about this, because it's an outmoded thing that fucking has implicit bias.
I know.
Anyway, it's all right, babe. It's okay. And I reached out and I asked, I have an existing master's degree. I've been practicing for 5 years. Will you please accept my master's degree in lieu of a GRE score? And every single one was like, nope.
Can you guys break the rules for me?
Well, okay, it was in the middle of the C word apocalypse, and I figured they'd be changing.
You could take it online.
Yeah, you actually can take the GRE online. I know, which is what I'm going to do.
And to be fair, to the colleges,
okay,
a lot of these colleges do forego the GRE right now, but not for the field you're going into, because it's kind of important to make sure you're competent.
Yes.
But as you just said, you are mildly competent. You can get in there, bro.
Well, I feel somehow like I won 4th place, but there was 10 combatants. There were 10 places.
That's a winning score. You're in. Once you're in, that's when you work hard.
That is, you know what? I actually had not thought of it that way.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I wasn't looking at the in between. I was only looking at the initiation. I was only looking at getting in, not getting in by scraping in and then proving my worth.
Yeah, I think that if you have what you call a mildly competitive score, being competitive at all is going to get you into one of these programs. And then once you're in there, that's when you can bust your ass and really improve and become the top of your class.
Oh, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah,
it's
no problem.
not going to happen, though.
Why not?
I'm never come out top of my class. I stay pretty middle. I don't know. I do good work, but
So mildly competitive.
Yeah.
So then why are you pissed about your score?
I'm pissed that I studied for 2.5 months and I was going to say disimproved and did worse on
That's probably why those verbal skills are going
Wow. Me brain too smooth.
Me Brian.
I got the smooth Brian. IQ 69, 420. God.
Oh, brother.
Anyway,
You're going to do great.
thanks. I'm going to try to take the home test. And you know how they do that?
How?
Is you have to have a computer. How? You have to have a computer. Tell me. You have to have a computer that has a microphone and a camera. And you sit in front of it, and there is a digital proctor that watches over you to make sure you're not cheating. So it's literally like being at a, like what I imagine I was on their end, they have like 80 computer screens with people in their homes, like with varying degrees of clothes on, taking this test and like them just like making sure that nobody's cheating.
So let me ask you this digital proctor. Is it
not
like,
digital in the sense that they are an AI, but in the sense that it is virtual. They are sitting on the other end of it. It's not going to a facility.
oh, so it is an actual person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So I was about to say, that seems like an awfully big part of someone's life to leave to automation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is.
Cool. I'm glad they're not doing that then.
That's right.
Yeah, do that shit.
Yeah.
I bet you'll make the person laugh.
Just going to not wear a top. Just be like, all right, I'm ready for my graduate record.
Just don't wear bottoms, and then like halfway through, get up and get a glass of water and see if they're really paying attention.
Like, Mr. John,
oh my.
Oh, those cheeks. I say I've seen the sun.
He has made his own ass clap.
And alerted the bees. So yeah, I'm trying to think like, oh man, what else is going on?
Are you gonna try to go to
I'm shifting gears. Can you feel the throttle?
Yes or no? Are you trying to go to U of L or somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the schools.
All right, cool. Throttle shift.
And that's local. Okay. I am a dad.
See, okay. Someone asked me the other day how that was going, and I was like, I'm almost positive that he sent me a message about this saying that he was a dad, but it was so fuzzy in my memory that I thought it was a dream.
So
Did you send me a message?
I did.
It was like a postcard?
I sent you...
What? Was it a dream?
I sent you a text message as a screenshot. That is a screenshot. So the wonderful ladies that I donated my big forehead Evanescence to is my Evanescence to is they sent me a text that showed a positive P strip.
Okay.
And they said, "Congrats, Uncle Gene."
Somehow in my mind, that turned into a postcard.
You can
the
see
shittiest postcard.
You
of all
can
time.
see it, just a screenshot on a blank on an index card.
Hello from Paris.
Wish you weren't queer. I think that's what it says. It's like written in shitty ink. But no, they sent me a picture. So, and I love that, like, I'm just going to keep writing this whole I'm the dad thing because ultimately they are doing all the amazing parenting work. They're going to do everything. I've already got all the documentation to sign, like, that I will have absolutely nothing to do with this kiddo in any sense. But,
you should get that signed.
I know, but thank you. But I'm gonna keep saying, like, I'm a dad, and they'll be like, "Oh, where's your kid?" And I'm like, being raised by two better moms.
Yeah, you could definitely play the whole I'm a single dad card.
Oh,
yeah,
that is really smart.
And then once they get back to your house, say, "Where's the baby?" Like, "Oh, I don't know."
Oh, how old is he? 2? Oh, he's out somewhere.
Oh, I haven't seen him since I put him in a cup. Someone else is raising my sperm.
Oh, how long is it? Oh, it's 2 years. I just figured he would still be sperm in a cup.
Pretty sure he's an adult cum now.
What's the life cycle of a zygote? I don't know. Got a job or something. Got his own sperm family. Kids. Yeah. So jizz to jizz. Oh, that was well done.
Thanks. We say jizz when we cheers now.
Yeah, Kyle is the British voice, like jizz, and then it just became jizz.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Jizz.
No one gets it at first.
No, and then they see, because if you're like jizz, and they're like, what? And then you see the clinky, and you're like,
jizz.
Oh, I'm part of something bigger than myself.
I hate that bird.
No, you don't.
I don't.
No,
She's warming up to me, or she was before you left. I haven't been around much.
Yeah. Just like me as a father. I can make those absent dad jokes about myself.
Oh, man. You still feeling good about it?
Like, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I feel really good. I mean, there's moments of anxiety where I'm like, I fear like what it means, how I'll feel whenever I see the child and like all that. But I feel like I feel like it'll be okay.
Yeah, this is gonna seem very like a friend we have, very sociopathic of me. But I feel like if it was me, I would have a lot of anxiety right until I signed on that dotted line. Then I'd be fine with it. And I think that's what. That's why I'm pushing you to do this because.
Well, but see, and I know the parties involved, and I know that nothing would ever happen.
I know.
But what mine is more conceptual. Like I'm afraid that because I've been talking to my dad about this via email because I actually sent the contract for him to review, and he said it all looked good. But he said that the one thing that the contract doesn't really cover is the emotional weight to it, which is like when I see apparently most donors don't know the family they're donating it to, and they don't know anything, and they don't have anything to do. Now what happens is later the chickens come to roost, and they will come to find you for medical reasons, like, oh, I want to get married, but I don't know what his genetic history is. So they may come find me, but I feel like because I know them and I know that it that's my DNA and that's them, but I don't know, there's just something fundamentally different in I'm choosing to have this child with someone and splitting our DNA versus these people are having a child that may or may not resemble me.
Yeah. How often do you see them realistically?
Less than once every 3 to 6 months.
Okay. I mean, I doubt that's going to change based on this.
No,
but
I'm not.
I could definitely see there being some sort of reaction when you see that kid starting to grow up and look like you. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a girl. That'd be weird.
Oh, I didn't even think of. Oh, what if there's a little big four-headed girl?
With a big old thick glass.
She's like,
talking about her fucking books.
Oh no.
I bought all these coloring books that I haven't colored yet.
That is a hilarious extrapolation of what I do. That is really good. A+.
Thank you. Oh, I thought that was coming at me.
No. Kyle would never.
Thought John had finally.
I would never throw my remote at you.
I thought I finally took one jab too far
at the books. You can take everything from me, but you leave me my pages.
Oh man, Clink,
Clinky.
Yeah. Well, I will urge you, like I urge you every week, to hurry up and sign that.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta get me a printer.
Is that all I can print it out for you.
No, I've got a printer.
Oh, John, dude, I stapled papers all day today.
Is that what you did to make up for your labor wages?
I mean, no, I didn't have to, but I was very bored. I moved pallets for about 20 minutes, and that was the best part of my day. And then I stapled papers.
Was the best part is doing manual labor.
Yes, it's what I want to do, John. I have a sickness. I want to use my muscles at work. And I won't get to do that.
I think it's not a sickness. I think it's more of a compulsion.
Sure. And I won't get to do that even once I'm trained because I'm just going to be walking around with a little fucking minesweeper going woo, 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 and then painting some shit on the ground.
I think
I'll get to walk a lot, but I'm still going to have to go to the gym and lift weights. If I was working in a warehouse, I wouldn't have to do that. Well, unfortunately, warehouses don't want me.
Because you're still a bad boy in the eyes of Alabama.
Because I put a piece of paper on my tongue 3 years ago.
Yep, to expand your ability to perceive reality.
Yeah, and from those crazy journeys I took and all that insight I gained about myself, I realized I just want to work in a fucking warehouse.
I realized I just want to be a mindless automaton.
Yeah, it turns out I just want to be a normal person that's never done psychedelics. No,
I just want to pick stuff up and put it down.
I'm just kidding. I would not trade psychedelic use for anything because I think that is very. I would not be the same person I am right now if I hadn't have stepped into the abyss one too many times.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Me too.
Hey, you gonna trip set me and that guy in like a few weeks?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll talk about it on here, or I'll think I'm an orange.
I would. Oh, that's right. We talked about doing that.
What?
The psychedelic cast.
Oh.
And just having them set up, and so we could talk, and then we could record hours of it, and then just cut it down to what's usable.
I feel like none of it would be usable, and
I would be sober, and I would be able to communicate with you.
Okay, I'm down for that. Except if I say I want to turn it off, we got to turn it off.
Yeah,
because it might put too much pressure on me.
No, that's fine.
And I'm not trying to have a bad trip.
It would be incredibly neutral.
Yay! That's all I've ever wanted.
I would not to be a pushy paddy. I'd be an encouraging Earl.
Encouraging Ernie.
Encouraging Ernie. A supportive spud.
Yep. I got like 3 people that want to do it. You think you can-
The thing is when you lost your freedom to do an illicit, illegal substances like the rest of us, you suddenly became a celebrity and a very desirable person.
I know it's hard to deal with. I smoked weed the other night just to get everyone off my back, and I thought that'd be the end of it. But literally the next day, they were all swarming me again.
It's a slippery slope because then they're like, "We've got all this heroin, Kyle."
I was like, "All right, I did it once, I'm done." And they were like, "No, what do you mean? You already did it. It's in your system. Do it again, just one more night." I'm like, "Why are you trying to push your problems on me?"
You have to remember the most important thing about people pushing other people to do substances is it's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
They want to have the experience of doing it with you. It has nothing to do with your experience of it.
I'll drink with anyone, but none of them want to drink.
No, dude, drinking's so 1950s.
Dude, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Jizz.
It's a depressant. People are trying to get dissociated.
Yeah, man, I'm just too happy.
Aww,
I need to depress
that's amazing.
myself.
Oh. I went to the doctor and he said, "You need to chill the shit out.
He was like,
you need to drink more.
You either need to join the fucking circus and be a clown, or you need to start drinking and chill the fuck out."
Yo, so how many times you drink? And you're like, "Oh, I don't do that. I'm healthy." He's like, "Okay, we're going to bump that up. Let's try 2 to 3 nights a week.
Prescribe you 3 cc's of Jack Daniels."
When you come back to me, I want to see you having some life problems and some general disconnectedness from your peers."
I thought the one thing I could bond with these rednecks at work over was liquor.
Oh, God, you should have known.
No. What should I have known? Do you know?
I assume that it's either Bud Light Platinum or...
What's worse?
Is it vodka?
No. It's Busch Light.
Oh.
Literally the most stereotypical. And... yeah, I just keep trying.
When you design your identity around platitudes and cliches, you know what? I will say that I guarantee they don't have the wherewithal and the critical analytical thinking skills to realize that they're walking talk. And I know that I am, like, as I say this very pretentiously, that I am a walking talking ironic, pretentious cliche of like an educated person, but like it's just, it goes both ways. Like, behind every archetype there is a shred of reality, and it's just so funny.
Yeah. I mean, and I have no problem with what they're saying. Like, if I would drink a Busch Light if it was in front of me, I would drive a Ford truck or a Chevy truck if I decided to buy one. But it's the fact that they're willing to die on that sword.
I know.
It's like Busch Light or give me death.
Well, it's so funny how inconsequential, like when you think about it, because it's the capitalist illusion of choice. Like they're creating camps within camps that the consumer gods want them to have, so they have brand loyalty, and they're just like, yeah, this makes me an American. It's like, no, it makes you a really good consumer.
Yeah.
And you're, I love that. And it's like the same thing. Oh man, I can't wait till we do the episode about sports.
I don't know why.
Because I have so much to say about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think...
You're just going to cut me off?
I think... You remember Outer Worlds, that game?
Yes.
Dude.
No, I didn't... Wait. Is that the Bethesda one? Or are you talking about the Outer Wilds?
Outer Worlds is the one where it's set in the future.
Not Bethesda, the one that made New Vegas.
Obsidian. Obsidian, yeah, I think so.
Yes, yeah, I played that one. Yeah, I did play that one.
Cool. It's set in the future, and it's about, like... all these capitalistic like corporations and stuff end up ruling the world.
That dying is literally destroying the work property, and so
Yeah.
committing suicide is an act of like it's a law. They sue your family because you're taking away their work property.
Yeah, and like everyone like
crazy.
at the end of talking to them, they say whatever company slogan they've sold their allegiance to. It's insane. And the crazy thing about that is like I can see. I'm not saying that the world is going that way, but that is a potential future for the world that we live in. Just like Idiocracy. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
I was talking to one of my friends about that earlier today. Idiocracy is where we're heading is the problem. Because out of all the rednecks I work with, 3 of them are under 23. They are all married and have at least their second child on the way. Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's intelligent people that I know. Almost every person that I would consider quite intelligent that I know that I talk to a lot doesn't have kids, except for you. One's on the way.
I was going to say, I think I'm in the middle group. I've technically got one, but it really is just a logistical error.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, people that are into, for anyone that hasn't seen Idiocracy, it's a comedy, but it's actually scary because it's coming true. But it's that the people that aren't very intelligent are breeding like rabbits and spawning like 10 to 15 kids with gutter genes, and the people that are smart are wanting to wait until the perfect moment and end up having like maybe one kid at 30 or 35 while there's 15 trailer park kids running around. And nothing against trailer park people, I'm just saying it should be even.
Yeah, that is actually a very old socioeconomic kind of observation that the people, I mean, that's a tale as old as time. The people who should be breeding are not, because they're environmentally conscious. They wait till the right time. They have all these life goals. They have all these plans, and they try to practice, relatively safe sex and blah, blah. And I'm not trying to paint like a hero white knight, class. That's obviously not the case. People who go to college do a lot of drugs and they make a lot of bad decisions, blah, blah, blah. But there definitely seems to be, and I mean that goes into the education of those individuals, the lack of resources they have, the lack of mentoring, the lack of they just breed because that's one of the base instincts, and there's not a lot else going on.
Yeah, I mean it's what's it called, the evolutionary imperative, biological imperative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's literally what we're here to do.
Yeah, one of them. I will say that from my perspective, I don't know how you feel about this, but sex does feel really good on my VP.
It is so easy to wear a condom, though. And I understand. I know what you're going to say because we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
However good it feels, it's not worth it. Wear a condom.
Yeah, the outcome.
Everyone out there, wear a condom.
Is that your new hydrate, meditate, everything's a simulate?
Forget all those other things.
Don't procreate.
Just wear a condom. I don't even care about expanding your mind. Just wear a condom. You know how much a kid can fuck you up?
Yeah.
Ugh. That is literally my biggest fear. When I was afraid of going to jail, I would tell myself that if for some reason I ended up in prison for however amount of time, I could tell myself at least I don't have a kid.
I've been telling myself that for a long time about everything.
Yeah, whenever things are bad, just realize you don't have a 18-year leash.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
until you're ready.
I know if I had some accident and had a kid, I would love it to death, and I'd be like, I can't believe I ever said that. But as of right now, I'm very pleased with being careful.
Well, and the thing is I don't know if there's enough time left for me to really talk about my experience.
Who cares?
With this, but okay.
Fucking 3-hour cast. Let's go.
So when I was younger, I was 20. I dated this girl from high school. I was 15 and she was 16. I was a freshman. She was a sophomore. And she was, I thought, one of the most attractive. She was like the bad girl in her grade, but was like smart and funny and interesting. And her sister was like 2 grades below us, and she was like the valedictorian but like she was like the bad girl, super tiny, very buxom.
Buxom? What's that mean?
It means very big boobies.
Oh, is that buxom?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that right?
Yep, BUXOM.
Oh, I've only read it.
So you thought it was
I don't know what I thought.
Big xylophone. And, she, for some reason, took an interest in me. And I think it's because I was funny and I was like pop punky and silly and was weird and, wasn't into drugs and alcohol, even though I was 15. And, her boyfriend at the time was the biggest douchebag in the grade below mine. And he was sexually abusive and verbally abusive and just all this crazy shit. And so, like, I talked to her and she dumped him and then, got with me. And then we dated off and on for 7 years. So there was a pretty substantial like part of my early adolescent, young adult life. And, she had been on birth control the entire time we were dating. And then towards the very, very end of our relationship, like when I was 21 or 22, we like broke up because like she was really wanting kids soon. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a child myself.
At what age?
Like 21 or 22. She was like she's like 23, 24. She just said like within 5 years, I'm going to want a child. And I was like, I am not going to promise that to you because I don't have any of this. And now that I'm 31 and I still don't have my shit together, I'm really glad that didn't pan out. But so we broke up, but like we hooked up one last time, and she had just had surgery on her molar or one of her teeth because she had strange teeth issues for some reason, and it like nullified her birth control. And so, we did what we had always done for 5 or 6 years. And then she called me like a week later after we broke up, and she was like, we might have a problem. And like, oh my God, dude, talk about a dark period of your life. This like it was so dramatic. Like I tore my bed apart, flipped the mattresses, like punched holes in the wall, like tore shit up, sit against the wreckage with my head in my hands, bawling, and like called her and was like, you can't do this to me. I don't understand what we're doing. And she was like, well, I don't know what we're doing. And I was like, I don't think we're ready for this. I told my dad, I told my mom, like, hey, I think I'm going to have a kid. And then she and I talked about it, and we both came to the agreement, like, we're not ready for this. We don't want this. And we went to Cincinnati and had an abortion. And, when it happened, it was really intense, but like she has since gone on, to my knowledge, and married somebody and had 3 kids and, got to live her life. But, it was really difficult for a long time to talk about and to think about because it's, so, in our American conservative-ish culture, especially maybe just in the States we're in, that it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's
taboo.
Thank you. Yeah. It's taboo. And, but I talked to a lot, and I'm always glad that like we made that decision because, like anyone can have sex, anyone can have 100 kids if they want to. Like it's not really, it's special, but it's also not special.
Yeah.
But I think what makes it special is it coming to fruition, 2 people wanting to be a part of it, and it being this, this amazing thing. And, we also it was like a very early term termination, so like I don't see it as a person. I don't believe in the soul or it was just it looked like a little seahorse. But so anyway, the whole reason I brought all this up, not only just to talk about it, was that I've talked to a lot of people who have kids, and because what you said, when you have a kid, before you're like, oh, and then you have a kid and you're like, oh, this is beautiful, this is amazing. And I think it's the concept of embodied consciousness and the concept of like investment of time. Like it's of course you would love it because you're an amazing person with a big hole, a big soul and heart. I meant to say soul and heart with a big hole. You got a big hole,
Kyle. A whole heart.
I'm just talking about that hole, brother. And, but it's also like you cannot imagine your life otherwise. Like I would talk to several women and they were like, I can't believe you would say that. Like, I can't imagine life without my daughter or son. No, of course you can't. Like, why? I'm not asking you to. Like, you absolutely can't because that would be a loss. That you would be grieving the loss of life. This was not the loss of life. This was obviating a potential start. And, we could do that. Anybody could do that any day of the year unless, they have difficulties getting pregnant or whatever. But like, to me, like I've made peace with it. And now this, I think, like, not that I'm trying to like take this grand stance of, I'm helping out to rectify the imbalance in the universe that I've created. But like, I don't know, like some part of me, it wasn't a part of the conscious process of thinking about it. But when I think about it now, I'm like, you know what, maybe this is like a nice way to, to kind of balance the table.
Oh, okay.
That has but here's the thing, like that is me retroactively analyzing. It was not part of the initial decision.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking about that now. Like I'm like,
I like that though. That's like poetic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
That leaves me with a nice warm fuzzy feeling. That's cool, man.
Yeah. And again, like I don't want to be like this, omnibrain hero that had this plan the whole time. I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking about it and talking about it, and I was like, maybe this does kind of like, in some insignificant, ultimately negligible way, like just kind of like put something out there.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Thanks, Mr. Goldblum.
Oh man, that's really cool. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, abortion's weird.
Is it?
Dude, I don't know my thoughts. I mean, I know my thoughts on it. I think it should be legal, and I think that women should have the choice.
Old
for
white conservative men making decisions for women.
Yeah, but I'm with you though. Like, I don't really think I believe in the soul, and I don't. But at the same time, like when they ask, like, what is the point when you shouldn't kill a baby?
Yeah,
that's a hard question to answer because, I mean, if you're gonna make abortion illegal, shouldn't jacking off be illegal too? I mean.
There are religious conservative groups that do go so far as to saying, that abstinence and not and even self-stimulation abstinence is the best way, and that, you are, and that's really the argument is that, a lot of people, when countering these very conservative traditionalist fundamentalist views about that is like women shed eggs all the time.
Yeah,
they kill eggs all the time, and men release billions of sperm per year.
And if you don't do that, they still recycle in your balls. It's not like if you never ejaculate and you have sex for the first time when you're 30, that's your first group. Like that,
exactly.
Like all
those boys have been on deck for 30 years.
Yeah, those boys are super mutants by now. No. Those boys.
God, cannot wait to see some action.
Yeah, no, the shit gets recycled anyway. Like, it's not, and if that's the case, that means every time a baby is born, 900,000 died because they didn't make the cut to get to that egg first. You know what I mean? It's just, it depends on how you think of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that, like, it's not a loss, like, to have an abortion, but like at the same time, it is very feasible that it would be a bigger loss to have that baby born and not be cared for the way it should.
Well, exactly. And there's a lot of arguments of like, miscarriages. That's a form of natural abortion. Like, did God do that to you? Did you do? No, of course not. It just happens. Like, and I think the whole policy of policing people's bodies and, that's just a very outdated, outmoded, old social conservative, religious infused kind of nightmare. And I think that it's going away. Well, hopefully going away, but
is birth control on the table? Is that something conservatives want to get rid of?
So it always has been something that they're not okay with because it prevents you from doing
but abortion's just a much bigger thing.
Yeah,
right now,
so for them, like it's like even the Catholic Pope, like I don't know which Pope it was, but like this is a big deal. I think it was like in the last 5 or 10 years, he came out in favor of contraception and birth control.
Yeah,
and that was huge because Catholics for forever have been pro-life, and it's like you can't, and it's like so like a lot of if you were to ask super old, I think white conservative or whoever conservative old fundamentalists, like they're going to tell you that contraception is just the same as getting an abortion. But like abortion is like contraception is like, well, there's not really a baby to speak of and it never happened, but it's not right. But abortion is like, but there is almost a baby and now it's dead and you're a murderer. And it's like, it's this terrible, terrible taboo that women have. And some women, are there's politicians that think that women who are raped, shouldn't have the right to terminate that decision they didn't make because it's God's plan. It's like, they want to live with this probably genetically damaged kid that's going to have the same predispositions as his father, and they have to live and love this. Like, it's just, it's really crazy to think about. Like, that's why I am a feminist. Like, I'm very like, I think a woman should be president. I think our next president after, well, I don't want to say this, it would be all political, but I think I've always said that I wish our president would be like a black, gay, disabled, trans. Like, I would just love to knock out all that and just be like, this is how it is. Like, this is humanity. This is what's real. This is, and obviously not if like disabled, they're not able to lead and have the, the whatever, but like, like I just, I've always said that, like, I think that would be the height of progressive ideology is to let, them, someone that represents truly all of us, like, be up there, I think
we're a long way from that.
Yes, sir. I thought we were a lot closer 4 years ago.
I think we were a lot closer 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I think we've been set back about 20 years these last 4 years.
Oh, that is a conservative amount.
I hate using that. I wish there was another word to use because I know conservatives that aren't fucking crazy.
Traditional.
Traditional.
Mm-hmm. That's a less kind of hot buttony way.
All right, traditional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know some conservatives that are really cool people.
Well, and we don't really get political on this show. We kind of skirt it, out of respect for everybody to, because I think it kind of, when you really kind of open up and go down that, it can really be I
feel like they can guess where we're at.
Well, no, and that's true. And I think that like hinting around the thing is like, in this case is better than just coming out and saying it, but because then it kind of leaves us to just bash and to be that way. But I do think that like, I I guess the last thing we can talk about is like, what are our hopes for tomorrow?
Oh yeah,
So
tomorrow's the
tomorrow
election.
is the general election. I voted by absentee ballot,
Uh-huh.
and I got all dressed up on Friday and was ready to go and down to the early voting place. And then I saw my absentee ballot that was supposed to come weeks ago, but didn't come until like the very last minute. And so I filled it out and submitted. And it's really crazy because if you don't read the instructions on there, your ballot could very well not be counted.
Really?
Yes, like it is like you open it up, then you open up another one, pull it out, and then you have to open that up, and then there's on the inside of that there's explanation for everything you're supposed to do, and it's like I can just see people tearing through this and getting it like, and I'm not gonna say voter suppression or anything. That is very well happening in a lot of conservative Republican states. But
And,
what I will
it's
say
happening
is like,
both ways too.
mhm.
Okay, just
what
to
do
clear
you
that up.
what do you mean?
They found a lot of ballot, like there's a ton of ballots that they have found that have been thrown out by like postal workers.
Yes,
But a lot of them are Trump and a lot of them are Biden.
Oh,
Like
really?
Yeah, it's happening both ways.
So like just the state and just whatever your affiliation depends.
yeah, there's plenty of rogue postal workers on both sides.
Well, and that just shows that rogue postal workers. I like that. It just, I mean, we're just so. I guess the lesson that what I want to say, and then I'll give you your say, is like we are just so divided.
Yeah.
And before, like in the Obama era, and before, like I feel like there was a clear like Democratic and Republican and Libertarian, everybody like there were like identity politics, there were value politics, but like it's not really doesn't really feel like that way anymore. Like what it now feels like is you have progress and sanity and equality for everybody, and wanting to right these structural systemic wrongs that have been in place that are now they've been coming to light for decades, but they're coming to light again at this really critical part. And then you have, I don't even know what to call it.
It's real easy to demonize the side that
I'm
you're
trying
not
not
on.
to do that. Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying, like, not even publicly, but just like in your head, it's really easy to be like, how can half of the world be this crazy when the sane people are on my side? But I mean, that's how they feel about us, and they have their own reasons to feel like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a Christian and I really felt strongly that way, I would 100% be on that side and think that all of us are going straight to hell and we're spawns of Satan. Like,
well, but here's the thing. Here's what I want to say is that was true up until this last recent presidency. I feel like prior to that, there has not been the kind of one note crazy off the wall. Like it was more values based. Like you vote here because we have this the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, Libertarian Party, we stand for X and Y and Z. And they're right here. They've been written on the wall. They've been that way for decades. Although, the Republicans have had to change their tune many times because a lot of their stuff is unsustainable, and a lot of people are becoming more educated and are realizing like, that's not sustainable long term. But that was always there. Like but now that's not really the case. Like you can't say, because the party that supports the current president is fractured. There's a lot of people that say like the head of state, like this is not what we're about. Like this is not what we do. So it's even like the divide is it's even divided amongst the people that were once unified in lockstep.
Well, the problem is they elected a con man, and like, who do you blame? Do you blame the con man or the people that got conned? I mean, obviously there's blame on both sides, but a lot more of it goes towards the con.
That is an incredible analysis, Scott. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their fault. He holds up a Bible, and that gets plastered all over the news, and they're like, "Oh, look, he holds our beliefs." He doesn't. He doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Not a single one.
No, he does not. I'm almost positive he doesn't believe in any God. This last name isn't Trump. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is God.
Well, there's definitely been some deification.
If he gets elected again, we're going to be seeing him hanging from crosses in people's houses.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine that orange cross?
It'd be like, oh, I saw where your Cheetos went. Ugh. Oh my God. See, now that is as a secular spiritual atheist, that's even more appalling than the truth. Or than the Christian truth. That is iconoclastic in a way that's disgusting and stomach churning to someone who doesn't even buy doesn't even, didn't even drink that Kool-Aid.
I think that's where healthy nihilism comes in.
Healthy nihilism. Oh my God.
Just realize that none of it really matters, so
Mm.
it's okay if it doesn't go your way, you know?
Yeah, I think that's that was the problem in 2016, is a lot of people felt that way, and that's why they didn't. That only 53 to 57% of the American population voted.
I actually was dating a girl at the time that voted for Trump. She was a hardcore liberal, and she voted for Trump simply because she wanted anarchy.
Well, here we are.
Yeah, we're just about here.
Yeah.
She's voting for Biden this year. It's a good move.
Well, whatever your affiliation is and whatever your reasons are, whatever helps you sleep at night, just go vote. And I think that a historic amount of people have, is what the polls are saying.
Oh, yeah.
Is that more people. And so I'm really hoping that that's a good sign, that like we can return to a time of normalcy and a time of political sanity, which is ironic. I put that in quotation marks because like political sanity is kind of an oxymoron, but to at least where I feel like my values are somewhat commensurate with that of the land that I live in.
Yeah. I got another question for you that might stem into another 30 minutes.
Okay, let's go.
What is the definition of late stage capitalism? Are we there? You got a book about this?
No, did I throw my phone earlier?
Yeah, you did. You
Oh,
trying to do it again?
No. Let me pull it up. Because
Okay.
I don't want to I don't want to give like the wrong thing.
Okay.
That's a whole other conversation. Okay.
I don't think the mic can hear you. There we
Late stage capitalism, per our great friends at Wikipedia, is a term first used by the German economist Werner Sombart around the turn of the 20th century. Okay. Later capitalism refers to a historical epoch since 1940, including the post-World War II economic expansion. Okay. Okay. So
Maybe a BuzzFeed article would have been better.
yeah, hold on. Let me look at like.
Type in late stage capitalism definition.
The term late capitalism began used when many economists believed capitalism was doomed. The term was used, late capitalism, over industrial society. Okay, Emmanuel believes that capitalism may replace the being by another world system. Yeah, let's see if there's like an easier... Is a popular phrase that targets the iniquities of modern-day capitalism, describes the hypocrisy and absurdities of capitalism as it digs its own grave. It spotlights the immorality of corporations using socialist use to advance their brand.
Dope. Okay, so we're
Oh, hell yeah. We are, by that definition, we have been there.
because
for a while.
capitalism makes a lot of sense until you get generations and generations and generations of people capitalizing on
Yep.
everyone else, and
Yep.
then they're just so wealthy they get to make the rules. And that
Well, we're not. What I would even say is that we're not even in a capitalistic nation anymore. We're in an oligarchy because the companies. Okay, so capitalism is. I have this really great book called Economics, and it's a visual. Shut up. It's a comic book that shows from 1776 until now all the different systems and the free hand of the market, the libertarian idea, the Republican ideal, Democratic. And the thing about capitalism is that it's based on this idea that there's this invisible hand. This is old capitalism. Is that people will buy and products will be delivered on the basis of what people want and need, and that companies will, it's like social Darwinism, capitalistic Darwinism. Companies will rise, companies will fall based on what products they have and what people want, and it's based on this invisible hand of the market. The problem is that when you have an unregulated, which is what Republicans keep saying and what libertarians are all about, when you have an unregulated market, which means that you can't put caps on what companies can charge, you can't put caps on the wealth they do, you can't put caps on blah, 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 blah. There's no regulations. You have these endless acquisitions and mergers of companies that then become monoliths and become monopolies. And then a very small amount of people own everything, all these different companies across industries. And so again, like what George Carlin said, I think in like the 80s or 90s, who's one of my heroes, is that it's the illusion of choice. It's the illusion. You think, like we were talking about earlier, like, oh, I'm Bud Light, I'm Busch Light, but it doesn't matter. You're buying. It doesn't matter what you affiliate with. You're the same tribe, and that tribe is that you are commercially enslaved to your brand owners. And so I think we're there. Like, I think that, like, we're not even in a capitalist. We're in an oligarchy, because if you look at the news, like Richard Murdoch, like, there's a great movie called Outfox, which talks about this. There's like 2 or 3 companies that own all the news. There's 2 or 3 companies that own all these different, there's parent companies, not shells, but these parent companies that own everything. It's like, they're... And yeah, I love that when it said is like the immorality of corporations using social issues to advance their brand. Like when you watch a commercial, like think about the very incredible, the very important, the very necessary Black Lives Matter movement, and think about the companies that are now like sponsoring that. Yeah, it's like, fuck you. Yeah. You don't care. You just want to sell your shit. Like, fuck you. Fuck.
But at
with
the
biggest
time,
middle finger.
I mean, not to take up for these huge corporations, which I hate. But at the same time, in terms of doing arms race, because the first person that does it, if no one else does it,
they're now, we need to buy their product.
Yeah,
like
because these other people are clearly racist.
Exactly, and there is that, or not, or whatever. Yeah, exactly. It's or they're not progressive, or they're not conservative, or they're X, Y, or Z. They're not us. They're not for us. And I think that's so funny because, with Citizens United, like 5 or 10 years ago, companies are now treated like people instead of companies. And so they get all these tax breaks and all these loopholes and all these things. Like the government has just systematically changed the rules so that things, that companies get more tax breaks. And, like our president has talked about, like, I'm smart because I'm cheating and I pay less taxes than the American school teacher. It's like all these terrible things.
Yeah.
What do you?
And the reason I brought this up.
Yeah, I was going to say, why did you Google 1770?
Because it's crazy to me to think about this. And this is a known fact. I mean, that I'm sure everyone knows. But it's crazy to think that America was founded in 1776. Like, literally a little over 300 years. Oh, wait. I'm drunk. Not even 300 years ago. That means by the end of our lives, America would have existed. We would have seen like a fourth of American history.
Yep.
Rome was like, how many thousands of years old?
Yeah.
You get the point.
Yeah.
I don't think this is sustainable.
It's
and
not.
like in our lifetime, it seems like, America is the end all be all. Like this is it. We found the right government, and this is what eventually the rest of the world's going to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that's true at all. But we have nukes. And a lot of people have nukes.
We have a bunch of angry, and it's funny because everyone says, North Korea and other countries with dictators are kind of the wild cards, but we have one too. I mean, we have a wild card. We don't know like what, and so it's not sustainable there. And that's why regulation is so important. And that's why when I kept seeing in the vice presidential and the presidential debates, how they kept touting the deregulation of everything. And I think I remember telling you while we were watching it, if the American voters knew what that meant to them and to companies, they would be up in arms against it, but they don't. Like, that means that the people that own the businesses have no cap. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to explain where their money comes from or what it is, or they don't have to explain who they've acquired or what money, what shadow goes to what shell organization or any of this stuff. The deregulation means, as it always has, very simply, the rich get richer and the poor continue to stay poor. And that's just it. And so whenever you see these people up there touting that they're for the American people and they're in favoring the deregulation, that really only benefits business owners. And if you're going to use the argument, well, if they make more money, the people make more money, that's trickle down Reaganomics. That's Reaganomics, and that has been disproven thoroughly over and over. So
many times.
Many. Yeah, it's not true. It's just not true. When you deregulate a market, people hold on to their wealth, and that wealth gets passed generationally. And then the people that come from lower middle class, from lower class or middle class, they just never, it's so hard to break out of that social strata. Man, this is really taking a turn.
Yeah. What do we start with? It wasn't this.
Hey, baby.
Kirby cat's
my
making
Kirby
an appearance.
cat's here. Oh, you coming to see your dad? You talking about politics?
We're just cramming it all into one. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I was talking to another friend about this the other day. It's like, I wish I knew what the solution was, but at the same time, no, I don't, because no one's going to fucking listen to me. Yep. So I don't want to sit here with the solution to everyone's problems and no one listen to me. I just go crazy. But it's crazy that, like, this is a problem that's existed in humanity forever. Yep. No one has figured out the right form of government, and we still have no clue, really. I mean, it's definitely a lot better than the past. I mean, it's not like capitalism is the worst thing in the world. It's just, I don't think it's the answer.
Well, and to reference this book again, Steven Pinker's "The Better Angels of Our Nature" talks about how over the course of human history we become less violent, and one of the reasons, one of the galvanizing, what he calls the pacification process of human violence is what Thomas Hobbes calls the Leviathan. It's the establishment of a disinterested governmental agency that moderates human disputes. The problem is not that there's too much government. The problem is that the government is actively being deregulated by people who benefit from its dysregulation. You cannot have. So what he talks about is that there are countries where having no government is better than having a poorly run government. Like he talks about that. Like a poorly run government is worse than no government at all because it can manipulate and destroy people over and over. Whereas having no government, there's all these different groups that try to get and they have their policies. But having one that's in the pocket of a dictator or anything else is even worse.
I feel like a no government would just lead to anarchy.
It does.
And I mean, it'd be violent. It wouldn't be. I mean, in a world where there's no violence, anarchy would be amazing.
Well, let me say, like, he's not in any way advocating that anarchy is good. Like, it's very, very bad. But he's just using that to say, like, when you have a genuinely good democratic process with checks and balances and regulations, people are held responsible. There's accountability, and there's obviously a lot of different. He talks about in the past a lot of processes that he talks about, but that is really important. And I realize that, like, when people talk about, like, when you have libertarians or teetotalers or Tea Party are saying that the government should be abolished and we should go back to city states and everything, and it's like, no, we're going to go back to warring city states like that's happening in the Middle East and everything else. We have to stay. We have to have a disinterested large third body that's a Leviathan. We have to have one, but it's just like the police force, and this is really, and I'm not trying to make a political statement. I definitely think we need to bottom up, fire everybody, rehire them, change the rules, rehire them, and then go from there. And blah blah blah. We have to completely redo that. But we. Oh man, I lost my train of thought because you threw that thing.
Sorry,
it's okay.
Your birds were banging around like they were in prison.
Anyway, all I'm saying is that, wealth. There's a great documentary called Capital on Netflix. I think we've talked about it before. It talks all about how wealth is acquired. It came from landowners and then went to their family and then, just gets passed down generationally from people to people. There's not a lot of movement. Bite ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
So I brought all this up talking about the future. I mean, I think that I don't like to get really political, and I know that some people do, some people don't, and I don't want to feel like this is like a bait and switch, but I do agree that when they say like the soul of the nation is on the ballot, like I honestly know that if we get a new president in there who's the other side of the political spectrum, it's not going to change everything. It's not going to solve everything. No. But I know that the person and the administration that's been there has been so illegal and chaotic and full of toxic litigiousness, full of schoolyard bullying, full of toxic masculinity, full of narcissism, full of this awful vitriol that's poisoned we've never had a good standing in the world because of our image, but now they're finally like, yeah, see, look, this is who you are. This is what you've always said. We knew this is who you are, and this is who you are. Yeah. And we came a long way in the Obama administration to rectifying that international image.
A lot of people would disagree. Same people that put this one in office.
Yep.
It's almost a one for one.
Well, and it's okay to play the contrarian. It's okay to say, that these other people, but the argument that I keep coming back to is one of very simple statistical like inferencing. So let's say you have a zero-sum game. You have all these people, it's a zero-sum game, which means that for every positive, there's a neutral, there's a negative, and it counterbalances and it stays neutral. So like, and I feel like with this administration and with the politics that they have, it's all about, and I know that there's going to be, you could say, well, values one way or the other, but I don't know who said this, but it's like a train can only move as fast as its slower car. And if your slowest car in the train is full of anti-intellectual, anti-scientific, anti-progressive, people that want things to be the way they were, that everyone to be separate, be in ethnocentric city-states where blacks and whites and Mexicans are all different, that people don't get equal rights, that women should stay at home. You have all these people that are tugging us back. We are just going to never get to where we need to be. And I'm not saying we need to cut them off. I'm just using that as an example. What I'm saying is that I don't think it's a zero-sum game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are definitely in the negative because of the vitriol and the chaos and the toxicity. And I think that, unfortunately, a lot of people, there's a lot of talk in like the left and the Democratic Party about how do we make people out of these villains that we keep saying? Like, how do we go from like saying, well, you're different from me and I don't resonate with you, to say like, you're a human. How did you get to where you are? How did you think that way?
I mean, how do you heal a nation that's so divided?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to take one good president. It's going to take several in a row to fix this. And
Here's the problem. The problem is that I think,
what the fuck are they doing?
No, they're like, you're talking about politics.
Like, it's been 20 minutes. They're just banging on that.
I don't think it's going to pick up.
Okay.
I hope it doesn't pick up. Is that, you have, what was I going to say? Values. Is that what you have is like people who have diametrically different values. And so in the book that I was reading by Johann Hari, Lost Connections, he talks about that. He talks about I think I brought this up several episodes ago, but in like Berlin, there was like this demilitarized zone after the fall of the wall. And you had this woman, this 80-year-old woman who's living there, who put a sign on her window that was like, I'm going to kill myself because I can't afford rent. So if you wonder why, it's not because I went crazy. It's because I have no other options. And she went down to the street, and some of her neighbors went there, and she started petitioning against the state-run government. And everyone came together, and you had all these people that were keeping night watches over their protest zone, because if they didn't, they would come and like move their barriers away and then like basically sweep away the protests they're trying to do overnight. And so they had people staying up for night shift, and you had these individuals, like there was a gay bar right across the street, and there was very old conservative people in that building that were like, well, I don't really agree with what they're doing. I don't want that. But then when they met those people and they saw them face to face, then, when they were there for a shared purpose, they were able to overcome that. And then over the course of days and weeks and months, I think it was months, I don't think it was longer than years, like they were able to form a bond and a friendship across the aisle of, like, we may believe different things, but we're all people and we all want to be treated fairly and equally. And they were able to reach that. So it's like, what do we need in our country to get that? Do we, like, I don't know what is needed to bridge that divide so people can say, your values are fundamentally different than me. And even though arguably, I believe in this Bible, I believe in these cultural mores, and I believe in X, Y, and Z, and you believe different, you're still a human being. You deserve the right to exist the same as I do. How do we go about beginning to bridge that?
Charity. I mean, it seems like the only thing that both sides agree on is wanting to help people, right? I mean, liberals are all about the bleeding heart, trying to take up for everyone else.
Yeah.
And conservatives,
they want to protect the people in their flock.
That, and at the bare minimum, I mean, Jesus says it's a good thing to do good.
Are you going to drop Mr. Jeezy J?
Mr. J. So, like, it seems like that's a pretty good starting point,
helping other people.
Charity. But it's I don't think you can really build a nation on charity.
No, because that's where they say welfare states happen, and that's a very
socialism.
Yep. Oh my God.
It's going to turn into Nazi Germany.
That's so funny.
If dialysis drops below $500 a vial, this is going to be fucking Auschwitz.
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 Well, a lot of questions. It takes a lot to heal. I mean, I think there's a lot of, Steven Pinker's book has a lot of solutions about how to overcome that kind of that violent diversity. And I think that we are honestly at a period in our cultural and in history where we may have to start over. Like, and I don't mean like destroy everything. I mean, like, we just have to maybe amend our Constitution. We have to amend what the rules of play are.
What shitstorm? What some crazy shitstorm would have to happen? Like another civil war would have to happen for that to happen. And the left would have to win because the right's going to be about preserving.
Yeah, they're going to be like, no, we're going back even further.
And the right. Have you ever seen Handmaidens?
No.
Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
Right. The right has all the guns and all the military. Like, I mean, I'm not saying all the military would be like, oh hell yeah, brother, let's kill these liberals. But a large amount of the military would side on the conservative side over the liberal side, and most conservative citizens have guns over liberal citizens. So if there was a civil war, it's almost hands down the conservatives would win. They have more land in America. I mean, the liberals are concentrated in the cities, but throughout all of America, it's mostly conservatives. So in a civil war situation, unless other countries got involved, which they would be very hesitant to do, the conservatives are going to win, and it's just going to set us back even further. But yeah, if the liberals won, maybe we could change the Constitution. But I just don't see a future where that happens without America completely falling first,
like imploding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's, well, and there's other ways rather than reaching an apocalyptic kind of upheaval, or what he calls a hemoclism, which hemo means blood.
Ooh.
And he talks about hemoclism as great wars. And I love that word because it's like, it's not just war, like like Civil War or the Cold War. It's like there's people like that are face to face dying. And I don't think we need to reach a hemoclism in order for that to happen. But, there's some things like updating, completely overhauling the public education system, making sure that people feel safe, that people are out of red line districts, that people can move where they want to, that people have basic, like in Johan Hari's book, he talks about universal basic income. And I know that's a really crazy thing for people to think about, but it happens in a lot of other countries and it actually works really well.
And Andrew Yang has a really good point.
Yes. Oh my God. My buddy was just telling me about him. Yeah. That he should have won the Democratic primaries.
Yeah.
But he didn't, but he's too radical.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, he's ran on a universal basic income platform, but his reason behind it wasn't, hey, let's just give everyone $1,000 a month. It was because AI and automation is taking over, and in 20 to 30 years, like a very large percent of jobs are going to just be gone, and humans aren't going to have that anymore.
And that's an incredible, and that's that's very aware of the social climate and the social zeitgeist. But the other side of that is when you have people that don't have to worry about whether I'm going to feed my kids, what they're going to wear. Am I going to have money for diapers? Am I going to have money to take them to put gas in my car to go to work? People can work on what they want to do, which usually is going back to school, learning a trade, joining a union, joining something where they can learn
themselves.
Exactly. And then because of that, when everybody's standard of quality, when everyone's quality of living raises, that starts from the bottom up and it just goes upwards. And and when people are no longer have to be worried about where their next meal is coming from, they do really productive things. You have this very old-minded ideology that if we're giving people money, they're going to sit at home. No, it's not enough to live well off of. It's enough to make sure that your basic bills and income are paid.
It's called basic income.
Yeah.
So maybe Reagan was 100% wrong, and it's trickle-up economics is what we need to be doing.
reverse the curse, like trickle it upwards. But like, it's so anyway, I do think that it doesn't have to be a hemoclism. I think it can come from things like that. It can come from a reinvestment in communities. I think it can come from completely stripping and rechanging the rules for policing, for changing the rules for the way that insurance companies lord over people. I mean, I think that we really have a runaway capitalist nation. And I think that all of these it's so complex, like all these the intersectionality of all these different pieces create this fractured mosaic where it's really hard to know like what the genuine picture of things are. But I think that things, if we do go in a different presidential direction, will at least be more stable, at least for the majority. I think there's going to be like a less than a fourth of the American population. They're going to have a really hard time with it for a little bit.
It literally has to be more. So this is the most unstable. Yeah. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I feel like this is the most unstable America has been since the Revolutionary War. Or Civil War. We'll go Civil War. I have a really radical idea, and I know it's very radical.
Oh, serious?
But tell me what you think about it.
All right.
So I think a huge problem with capitalism is nepotism, right?
And cronyism. So nepotism is family members. Cronyism is like friends and people of associates, like political networking.
What if, and I know there'd be so many ways to get around it, but let's just say in a perfect world where they figured it out. What if you could make all the money you wanted, but you couldn't pass it on to your family after you died, and it just got reinvested back into the community?
Okay, expand on that.
So like Bezos.
I know what you mean, but like explain to me what the downstream effects of that would be that you think.
I'm just saying that. So like what is it, like the Rockefellers? They're like the richest family in America.
I see. Sorry. So like generational wealth would be obliterated.
Yes.
Like you can either donate it to people, but how would you regulate?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That'd be very hard to get around. But if you could figure that out somehow, that it seems like capitalism could continue to be maintained. Right?
Or what I would say is that part of that generational wealth accumulation is crucial to climbing the ladder from lower class to middle class. So instead of just obliterating it, putting a cap on it and saying like most lower middle class or lower class and middle class don't pass on more than like $500,000 when you have these millionaires that are passing on billions of dollars. Like put like a $500,000 cap on it,
and
then the rest of
business.
Yeah.
They can even keep the business and keep making money.
Ooh, oh my God, dude, people would lose their bananas, dude.
I mean, because like Bezos, his family.
1% of people would lose their
If Bezos didn't make another dollar, his family would be set for the next 1,000 years. Like, that man, if you just took all of his wealth and split it up among Americans, like, everyone could have like tens of thousands of dollars, I'm pretty sure.
You see what's fascinating is that that's a very progressive idea, and I think it has a lot of merit. The problem is that you have like people that own local franchises of radio. Well, I shouldn't have said Radio Shack because I know that's not true, but like McDonald's and local mom and pop, and they buy into that Republican, that very like, I can make it, I can pull myself.
I think
in my
almost everyone
bootstraps.
does. Almost everyone feels like there's a small percentage that they're going to be the next Bezos.
Yes, or they're going to be the next TikTok star, the next YouTube.
They're going to get all this money, and if it gets taken away from Bezos, it can be taken away from them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we should take it away from Bezos because that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because he capitalized on the market, and he made all of his wealth legally.
The interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying in the future, it's like making a law. It's like if someone does something you don't want and then making a law against it and arresting them. I'm just saying we should safeguard against it in the future.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, when you're talking about thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, that's livelihood on the line.
Yeah.
Now, when you're talking billions of dollars, there is a substantial margin where you could have that, you could quarter that, you could three-quarters that, and you're like, your bottom line isn't even affected for decades. Like you're just like, oh. And honestly, like, I mean, and that's what I think maybe we just talked, one of the fundamental reasons that people are so opposed to that kind of socialistic world, because they're like, well, if they take everything from me and they reinvest it in what's good for everybody, then why am I, it's like they think it's fundamentally opposed to the idea of capitalism, and that I get to be Superman, I get to live for forever, I get to have a bajillion fulfillion dollars because I say I can. And I think that's honestly, unfortunately, an entrenched American culture, value in our culture that probably we have to reevaluate and assess from a very logical perspective and try to undo.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's really easy for me to propose that idea because I have literally nothing coming to me from my family. So it's very easy for me to be, let's just burn it all down. No one needs to inherit anything because I have nothing coming.
Well, let's just we'll go a bit. Let's just say you can't give more than $1 million between your family.
To me, that sounds good. But if I was a Trump, never mind. They're actually broke. They don't have any money. If I was a Bezos child, I would be super pissed about that. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer. It was a radical idea.
But I think there's some merit there, and I think that would probably be blacklisted immediately, and if you were a political figure, they would use that to destroy your legacy. Yeah. But I think is a legitimate strategy. Like, honestly, there's merit there, and I think there's a lot of progressives that have argued about putting caps on what you can earn from your business. Mm-hmm. That has been a conversation for years, is to say, like, businesses, you can't earn more than this, and when you do, you have to reinvest it in your employees. You have to reinvest it in the places you say you have houses, the places you say you have banks.
Isn't that very anti-capitalism, though? Because the whole point is to sacrifice all of this time and money early on in your life so you can capitalize later in life and you can do whatever you want with your earnings, right? So it's kind of hard to say, okay, you can sacrifice you can take all the risk, you can sacrifice all this, you can put all your time into this, and then we're going to tell you how you can spend your money. I'm sure you've seen like graphs and statistics of inflation over the last like 50 to 100 years, like how the cost of living has rose like however exponentially, and the rate of income has like stayed or gone, you know. And so it's like there was a time, I think, in our history, our American history, where that was reasonable. Like my parents, like my dad has a 401k, he had tenure. My mom, like and they received money from their parents when they passed away, and they received that inheritance, and and I think that's true. But I think that today, like when minimum wage is what it is, and the government won't agree because you have a Republican government that says everything should be deregulated and states should have their way, and then states that lean more conservative tend to withhold all that money, and they tend to not pay unless they have to, which is the federal minimum. I think you have to
It used to be a tenable. It used to be a tenable dream. I just don't think it is anymore. I don't think that, on a McDonald's wage. I don't think on and I don't think it's funny because in our culture, in our country, we say, man, we are going heavy this time. In terms of like the culture like we have here. Like people say, the American dream, you have to be asleep to believe it. It's very true because other countries, if you get into, if you go to school and you get a degree, that's amazing and you're incentivized, and you may get it for a reduced cost or even free in some cases, but then you're indebted to your society. You have to do so many years of civil service. You have to reinvest yourself. Like they're saying, yeah, we gave this to you and that's amazing because now we have more educated, incredible professionals that can help our society. But also we did give you something on the taxpayer money, so now you have to pay us back. And it's society, it's civil duty in a lot of cases. And over here, that's not the case. We have a very capitalist system with private for-pay for online and in-person brick-and-mortar universities. You have a decline in the humanities. You have an increase in all these business schools that are trying to get everybody. And so not only are you not able to get a degree and then live off that degree, a degree is what you have to have as the bare minimum to even break even, because if you don't have a degree, you're going to make minimum wage unless you go into a specialist trade or like and so it's just, I know that I have a degree. I get paid very well. I live way above I live like upper minimum wage, even though my house wouldn't indicate that to you and I haven't been employed, but like I'm just bad with money is why. But like, I went to school for almost 6 years in order to do that, but I appreciate the money I have, but I don't want other people to suffer because they don't have the resources, the money to even get started or anything else. Like I just think fundamentally our system has this it's called what an author called of Deer Hunting with Jesus, he called the American hologram. We have this image that's like, this is how it is. This is, you can do this too. And then it's like you push it or you move it and it phases through your hand because it's completely non-true. It's insubstantial. The truth is that people can't. They don't have the resources, and if they do, then you owe the government or private institutions $70, $100, $80 to $100,000. You pay that off for the rest of your life. They've got you. They made their money back. I mean, there's ways to do that. Other countries have done that, but we are, again, go back to what you said. We're in this very post-capitalistic where companies act like people and they think they have the same rights as we do, and it's just terrible.
It is also worth pointing out that this is the definition of first world problems, because I've never seen.
Thanks for keeping us grounded, Kyle.
I've never seen like someone coming from another country that spent their whole life like becoming a doctor over there just to come to America to live the American dream, and then they get here and they're like, "Oh, this sucks." Yeah. No, they're like, this is literally amazing. Yeah. This is what I planned for.
There's not ethnic cleansing. There's not, droughts and fire.
So as bad as it is over here, it's much worse in most of the rest of the world.
True. But I will say, if you're going to advertise yourself as a world leader and have systemic racism, inequality, for-profit schooling that makes for-profit schools that makes lifelong servants out of their academics, then you're misrepresenting what you really bring to the table.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, and I'm not being like a New World apologist who's saying like, oh, we're just all, we have it worse. We don't. Like we live in a country where I can say fuck the president or I can say fuck God or whatever, and people aren't going to come behead me. Well, I hope not.
Well,
maybe we should take that out. But it's like, you can say whatever you want to say and things are okay because we have freedom of speech. That's amazing. However, we do have all these things, but I've honestly, I don't know if I talked to you about this or someone else, but like, I feel like the freedoms that this is going to sound really crazy, and I want to frame this the right way. When you have the illusion that you can do absolutely anything, and let's think about the anti-maskers right now. That's what it was about. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everyone knows, I'm the one who's not on any social media who doesn't do this, but anti-maskers are the people that are vigorously, to the detriment of their children and their adults and their family who are medically fragile, refuse to wear masks in this pandemic because they say it's a violation of their rights. Mm-hmm. When you have people that live in a country where you have the illusion that you can do whatever, you can buy guns at Walmart, you can buy, whatever, you can go to a strip club, basically everything is there on the table. You can do anything. If any one thing contradicts that freedom, you are going to cry, I am being opposed. I'm being subjected. I'm being not subjected. I'm being basically I'm being infringed upon. That to me is an idea of lunacy. Like that's, I mean, if someone, it's like everyone's out in space and someone's like, hey, you need to breathe this oxygen. They're like, I'm not going to wear that thing on my face. It's like, we are literally living in this place where anyone can do anything at any time, and people are upset that they are not able to actively harm other people, and they take they take these issues against them. So to me, it's like my whole argument that I'm trying to make sensitively is like, we may have the illusion of having be able to do anything may hurt us more than having freedoms, but having more clearly defined, regulated things. Because when you know where the boundaries are, okay, I fucked up, like I made a mistake. But when you think that you can do anything because you either don't know the law or you know it too well, I think there's problems that come from that.
Yes. I also think that I can see their side of it though, that it's not about the mask. It is and it isn't. It's about the fact they think that if they give in a little bit and everyone just agrees to wear a mask, now the government can make them do anything. And like I can see,
I wonder where that comes from, because
it's the whole give an inch they take a mile thing that's just human nature. But
I mean, I'm thinking about like the sedition acts in World War I, where we put the or World War II, where we put the Japanese in, concentration camps here, as active sedition, even though they were they were native born here in America. It's like, I'm thinking about that stuff historically, and I'm like, that is not what is happening. This is not the government overstepping.
Yeah.
This is ensuring and mandating that you follow protocol, because people are absolutely not. That's to go back. That's why we have these super spreader states, because people refuse to follow what could save so many lives. And it's not like we're asking you to duct tape a fishbowl over your head and your ass. We're not asking you to wear this in your own home around your own kids. It's just when you go around in the public where it could be spread. I just can't understand that if we live in a Christian country where people want to help each other and we have those guiding principles, that people can't understand or refuse or politically align themselves to say, I don't want to help you because I think it's all a big hoax, or because I don't like that freedom. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Because it's a double-edged sword, because either Jesus is going to protect us or we're going to die, and it's all a part of his plan.
Well, I want to make my own decision on that. I don't want you to make that for me.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I mean, these also, I would say a lot of the anti-maskers also believe that Fauci is trying to come up with this vaccine to put a chip in them to make sure they don't figure out that the world isn't flat.
Are you serious? Is that like a conspiracy theory?
I mean, I don't think that's all tied together like that, but I
haven't heard that because I'm not on any social media.
Those are all different conspiracy. I mean, you know about flat earthers, right?
Yes, yeah.
A lot of people also think that the coronavirus vaccine is going to be putting chips in us. Not Fauci, Bill Gates. They think Bill Gates is trying to put microchips in us. And I'm not saying all anti-maskers are crazy. Yeah. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're right.
Well, there's a big difference between what's probable and what's possible.
Yes, you're right. You're right. But I mean, like I said, I can see where they're coming from. If you believe all that and God, and you think that the government is going to, if you give the government an inch, they're going to take a mile. The next thing you know, you're going to be living microchipped and enslaved in your house. I can see why they're so passionate about it. But I just don't think that's realistic.
No, and nothing in the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years has proven that way, especially when they have a leader in office who's so absolutely morally repugnant, who flies in the face of everything.
I don't think it would be like this if we had a leader that would have accepted science and would have said, let's, protect
you need to mask
everyone.
Up, and we're going to mandate that across the entire United States.
The fact that the president has created this huge divide among the population is what's caused this.
Yeah. So maybe next one we'll interview him.
Yeah.
From prison.
That'd be great. Honestly, I wouldn't want Donald Trump in this house.
No, I don't think
if he asked if he could come here, I would ask if he would just write an executive order to get Randy Santel on here.
Yeah. Usually when I hear he's in the area, I dig into the earth to try to get vertically as far as I can away from horizontally.
It's still a red state.
Yeah. Man, we have covered a lot of ground.
I mean, we didn't do one last week, so this kind of made up for it.
Oh, yeah, we did. We could call this a two-parter. We can do like episode 18 and 19.
Yeah.
Or 7, 8, whatever episode.
Those. Oh, if we do that, though, we're going to pass up our subscriber count.
Okay, we'll just do one episode.
Yeah.
We'll give you guys.
We need we need subscribers. Listen,
we don't like to do this, but if you were really desperate.
Listen, I'll give you $1 if you subscribe.
If you know anybody out there who really likes listening to podcasts, just please tell them.
Subscriber 19
I'll
gets.
come over there. I'll smell your feet. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll lick your toes.
Subscriber 19 gets $1.
Kyle, can I talk to you about that? We need to reconvene about our budget.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's up?
Let's say you'll get $1 with an asterisk next to it, because there's a chance that we might not have $1 in our company coffers right now.
Subscriber 19 gets $1 if we have $1.
Okay. Bing, bang, boom.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this longest episode.
Jesus, that's a doozy.
Yeah, we started off cool, and then we got real. Then we finally dug back
real
into
uncool.
It. Yeah. It's always a pleasure to talk to the microphone to you guys, and to think about all of you out there.
Thanks both of you for listening. Still,
just listening to us so good. I just love the way you listen to us. Oh my God.
All right, hydrate, meditate. It's all simulation.
And no, hydrate, meditate. It's all a simulate, and don't procreate.
Wear a condom, you fucking animals.
Even though it doesn't feel the best, it's really important.
It feels a lot better than 18 years of debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm John.
Kyle.
And we will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.